Check. There we go. We are up and running. All right. That took a while to get there. Thanks for your patience. I'm wondering, oh, we got 4 people here. Excellent. I was wondering if it was even working. All right, we are in. Excellent. What's up, Mr. Santiago? It's good to see you, man. All right. Well, welcome to the very, very first of the Couch Doodles live October Inktober sessions. For the first day, the prompt is the word ring. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a ring, and I'm going to be doing it in a copy of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. Now, I've got something called a switcher, which will allow me to do camera A and camera B. So now you're going to be able to see my ugly mug while I sketch. I should probably move that thing out of the way, though. It's kind of in the way of the drawing, in fact. Let me just take that out and just go back to this camera. Boom. Let's put the bug in there, though, so you can see what you're watching. Hopefully that popped up in there. I can't tell. This is all new stuff. I haven't messed with this in a long time. All right, yeah, the bug's down in the corner. Let's get to drawing. I think that'd be a good time to get to drawing. Today's day is ring. What's up, Estrella? Now tell me, you guys, did you guys get the alerts? Like, did the notification bell ring? All right. So this is How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. It is hands down one of the very, very best books you can get when you're learning how to draw or want to learn how to draw. It is written by Stan Lee and John Buscema. I'll give you a little bit of history behind this book, though. Back in the 70s, John Buscema gave these workshops. Well, he didn't give them. He did them for a few $100, and back in the day, that was a lot of money. It's still a lot of money now. But Stan had come to one of his lectures, and Stan said, "This needs to be a book, pal." And John said, Stan, I'm not a writer. That's your thing. So what Stan did is he took all of John's workshop notes and put them together in this fabulous book. I got this book back in, I think 1981. I still have my first copy. This isn't. This is going to be belong to somebody, some lucky person when they win it. And I'm still trying to figure out the dynamics of how to win. Probably have something to do with sharing my page and getting more people up there and all that stuff, because the page needs help. But soon when the interviews start pouring in, that's when we will see what happens. Alright, so you heard the crack of my pen. So this here, I got this at Hobby Lobby. It costs 14 bucks. Sign pen variety. They're good drawing pens. I have some complaints. My complaints, they boil down to the fact that these inks are not waterproof, so you can't do anything with them after you've done your initial drawing, unless you want to, smearing your ink is part of your deal. But as far as like doing sketch work that you scan and color in Photoshop, it's wonderful. And they have some really interesting tips. So today I'm going to grab, I think this one. This one's going to be the one. It is the flexible tip. And today's prompt word, again, if you guys didn't see it, is ring. So for today, I'm going to be drawing my interpretation of ring. We can do all kinds of things. I'm the kind of person that likes to push my imagination. There's obvious things. There's drawing a bell that rings. There's a telephone, it rings. There's the ring. There's the one ring. There's other things. So being that I am working on my Black Flag book, I'm gonna end up slanting those things to those characters. So I see something in my mind. Let's see what that is. See if I can draw this, and let me add this other camera in so you could just see for a second. See this thing? It's right in the way of my eyesight. So it does feel a little funky drawing with this, because this camera, usually it's the other way around, but because I'm using switcher, it wants to be this way. So it's a little cumbersome, but let's get in. All right. So I'm thinking about the concept of ring. So I'm going to do this. So I see in my mind some shapes I'm very familiar with because I've drawn them a bunch of times. And you'll see exactly what it is that I'm going to do. Sometimes people ask how I'm able to draw sometimes without any guideline, and a lot of it has to do with thinking about images, thinking about holding it in my mind as I draw it. Thinking about where the vanishing point is going to be. Create things like overlap, for example, to give the illusion of depth. So this right now, I don't know if you guys can tell what I'm doing. Everybody knows what I'm doing. Hello to the 14 of you out there. Every now and then I'm going to be able to look up. I've got comments like right in front of me on another iPad, so I can do some sort of talking to you. It's been a while. For some of you faithfuls who've been following the channel, Dream Movie Cast, you are correct. You know that I had started something, and then I went away for a while. And the interesting thing is today is an anniversary of sorts. It's the first anniversary of moving here to Georgia. We moved here from California exactly 1 year ago today. We drove out and set up shop in this lovely house, but you know, a lot of things happen in a year. All good. All things that happen are great. You know, we had a baby, started working some new jobs. There's a show on CW called Legacies. I'm the storyboard artist of that show, so I spend a lot of my time doing those storyboards. And then I'm also back working in comics, doing He-Man for DC and for Mattel. And it's all a lot of work. It's an incredible amount of work, but totally worth it. Sorry if I'm talking a little slowish, because like I said, it's been a while since I've done the live thing. And it's not as easy to talk and draw as you might think it might be, but I'm hoping by the end of this month it'll be back on track. At least the ability to talk and draw. You hear that zipper? That's me breaking out some different pens. This pen here is called a Pilot Fineliner. I did a lot of my sketches over the years using the Pilot Fineliner. It's I can actually draw faster, and in being able to draw faster, I can think a little clearer because I'm not slowing things down. Anyhow, over the past year and right before we moved, I conducted several interviews. One of the interviews that I did, my very first one, was with someone that hopefully a lot of you guys are familiar with, my friend Jung-gi. Most of you guys know him as Kim Jung-gi. His last name is Kim. His first name is actually Jung-gi. That's one of the things that makes him laugh, is that people think his name is Kim. But that is his last name. But I like being called Frege. But my very first interview is with Kim Jung-gi, and also the creator of Super Ani, Hyejin Kim. So I've got those two. But one of the crazy things about those is they are in Korean. And I had an on-site translator, a guy named Han Solo, not from Star Wars fame, but he's an incredible artist himself. But unfortunately, the translations were not done in first person. They were sort of paraphrased on site, and I didn't want to give any paraphrasing. I want the Couch Doodle audience to be able to get exactly what Jung-gi was saying as he said it. So anyhow, that was a stumbling block that a friend of mine just told me a couple weeks ago that was an unnecessary one, because there are services out there that do translation and subtitles for they have a per minute fee, and Korean is actually only $5 a minute, and his interview is about 20 minutes. So it cost me about $100 to translate. But he's one of the very first. Some of the latest guys I got Freddie Williams, I got Dave Johnson, I've got Cully Hamner, Neil Adams, Rob Liefeld, Mike Mignola, Mark Bagley, Dennis Cowan. Probably said him twice. I love Dennis. Ken Lashley, Jim Mahfood. I've got actors, Nyambi Nyambi. Hopefully I say his name right. I always feel self-conscious like I'm saying it wrong. Directors like Joseph Kahn. I don't know if you guys know Joseph Kahn, but he is an incredible movie director, music video director, commercials. I do a lot of commercials with him. Also, my buddy Joseph. I just said Joseph. My buddy Josh Keaton. I don't know if you guys follow Voltron, but he's the voice of Shiro. He used to be the voice of Spider-Man on the Spectacular Spider-Man. I want to take a break to let you guys know about a completely unsponsored, sponsored thing. Sweetwater Going Coastal IPA with pineapple. It's my beverage of choice tonight. I'm going to get into it. There we go. Delicious. Delicious. I'm also going to be working out some kinks in the green screen. I know there's a way that I can drop video in, like pre-recorded video on this switcher, so I'm going to learn how to do it, but it's going to be a learning curve because, again, I was all geared up to do this a little over a year ago, and then life got crazy. So I got TV shows, comic books coming up. So let's talk about real quick. I'm going to show you. Hey, Zaid Comics. Hello. Thank you for stopping by. I'll show you guys something real quick. Get you really excited about November 20th. That's next month. I've got this book coming out. Here's the original to my cover. It is called He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse. We find ourselves in different versions of Eternia. Different versions of Skeletor, He-Man, Grayskull. These are my originals. You can see they're rather small. I thought I would save some time by drawing them smaller. That was a gigantic mistake. As you can see, the details are very tiny, but you don't really understand that when you do something that tiny, your hand ends up hurting a lot. Anyhow, I've just started issue 3. In fact, this week I'm in layouts. It's one of the most difficult parts of, at least for me, the creation process. You know, it's a little easier for me when I'm writing something, because if I run into any sort of brick walls, I can write my way out of it, you know, or I can come up with other creative ways. But when I'm working on somebody else's stuff, I try to respect it 100% in the most fullest way that I possibly can. What that does sometimes is it creates sort of these mental mind problems, right? So, you know, there's who's talking first, and when you say that, you go, oh, okay, that's the person whose word balloon is there. But a lot of times you have to arrange it in a way that it flows, which affects how you block a scene. And blocking is where you put your characters in relation to the environment. And you know, if you have a character enter a certain way, you have to make sure your camera is covering it a certain way. So there's all of those considerations. It's not a single image, it's a series of images, and it's not storyboards, because you're dealing with a graphic two-dimensional surface that you're hopefully, at least in Western comics, you're leading the eye from left to right, top to bottom, and you know, you want to make sure that that's interesting. You know, like I don't see, I can't show you guys all this stuff because it's like spoilers and stuff. TMC Comics, awesome, and Down Market Hoser, please do add it. So I'll give you an example right now. So the idea is we go to Eternia. Skeletor is outside of Grayskull, calling Prince Adam out, and the writer said he wanted to see Skeletor, Grayskull, and this sort of threat in the sky. So that's 3 pieces of information that you need to show, and the only way you can show the sky really is to go to a low angle. The only way you can show Castle Grayskull is to widen out, and the only way you can really show Skeletor is by putting him in that wide. So you're kind of, you know, you can get creative with foreground elements and, you know, those sort of things, but that kind of leaves you with only a couple of options where you can really put your camera. You know, same with this, like when I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panel page, and one of the panels is He-Man saying, "I've got the power," and it's a 5 panel page. Okay, this isn't like Image Comics back in the day. We would just make that a double page spread or a full page splash, but this is 1 of 5. So and there are other actions happening too, the energy coming out of the castle, the threat, Skeletor turning around, He-Man approaching Skeletor, He-Man being surprised by something. That's a lot of information for 1 page. I also wanted to make sure I led your eye from this panel to this panel to this panel and out. So there's a lot of considerations when laying out a comic. Anyway, that's my long-winded way of explaining why the layout process is the toughest part, because the drawing part, once everything's figured out, it's just it's a matter of time, right? Like, can I draw this in 8 hours? Can I draw this in, you know, 6 hours? However many hours I have, you know. And a lot of times I'll end up doing 16-hour days because I've got multiple jobs going at once, you know, and everybody needs their time. Luke, thank you for recommending the book. I hope people pick it up, you know. I liked He-Man as a kid. I was more of a G.I. Joe, Transformers, Voltron guy because of my age. I think He-Man hit my younger brother a lot harder than it hit me, but I was a fan nonetheless. I really enjoyed the characters and really wanted to be able to participate in that world. So being able to work on the book is really cool. And the other part that I find tremendously exciting, Estrella, be well. I'll see you hopefully next time. Some of you folks know me because of the Couch Doodles Instagram page. And some people know me from when I used to draw comic books. Some people know me from when I used to direct cartoons. But whatever the reason is, my main goal is I enjoy drawing, I enjoy creating, I enjoy storytelling. I also enjoy sharing any information that I can to help people get past some of the hurdles that happen when you learn how to draw, you know. So now what I'm doing on this, I'll tell you where my head is at. I went through and I did a pretty okay linear pass, which is all the little thin dot lines. Oh dude, I'm glad you ordered 10 copies of that cover, because it's the hard to get one, It's the only cover I'm doing for the series. I originally wasn't going to be doing any covers at all, and I had recommended to my editor, I said, hey, you know, I think it would be good to at least have me on one cover, and they agreed, and so that's why. Luke, you have the Wolverine issues. That was a good time. Those are some incredible memories, man. You know, just to give people an understanding of when I drew those. I drew those back in 2001. In fact, there's an issue with this character called Ogun, who was able to have his evil spirit travel through people just by touching them, and it was really difficult for Logan / Wolverine to capture him because he kept transferring his way into helpless people and all that. But one of the things that is kind of crazy to me is there was a page in particular that I know I gave it to my buddy Steven, I think. It's a double pager where Ogun is transferring himself from person to person to person, and there's like a double page of all these people, and I remember when September 11th happened, I only drew one thing on that page, and it's the American flag on this guy's hat, and it's just one of those funky memories, right? So I know that I started that drawing on September 10th. I drew that flag on September 11th because I was glued to the screen, and then I finished the page September 12th. But yeah, Wolverine was a good time. My dumb question. What up, my man? One of the best shows I've ever been on. I still wear that shirt, and I don't wear the hat that often. I don't wear my hats too often, but I wear that shirt. Oh, and Squish. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Squish show. He's on too. I've been interviewed by Squish before. Squish is from the ocean. He knows his comics. He knows his movies. He is a good dude. So I forgot the point I'm making, man. Like I said, this whole live thing is gonna take a little bit of getting used to. Doing time lapses is easy because I just throw the music I want on, and I go, and I don't really think about anything other than the drawing. So with this, I will gladly answer questions. So if you guys have any, please ask away. I will continue to talk about something I'm very excited, which is this comic I've got called Black Flag. Black Flag is a book that I did in the mid-early 90s, and it featured this character here, this guy named Gorilla, and a guy named Sniper, a girl named Geisha, an alien named Rascal, a boy and a girl, Spot and Bubbles, a supernatural Voyager named Raiden, and a cast of crazy characters that come from the Earth below. And the idea behind Black Flag is they're protecting the Earth one world at a time. They protect us from threats from above, from below, and from the threats we know. And what that means is that Black Flag protects us from aliens. Black Flag protects us from the supernatural. And Black Flag also protects us from threats like terrorists and cyber ninjas. And if you're a big fan of the 90s, Black Flag is the book for you in a major way. So what I'm going to do next on here is, did Tim Seeley help me with the He-Man layout? TMC Comics. Tim's scripts give panel indication in word form. So he'll say, panel 1, this character does this, and says this, but he doesn't give any sort of put the camera here. He can draw in like so amazing. Tim is an incredible artist. So I'm sure he could if he wanted to. One of the things that I appreciate about working on He-Man is that it is challenging, and each issue is progressively harder. So for example, issue 1, we're in one universe and not too many characters, pretty limited. Issue 2, we're in a different version of He-Man, and I'm sure if you've seen the solicitation for number 2, you can see we were in space. We were doing New Adventures of He-Man. So there was a whole new set of characters I'd never seen before and very detailed costumes. Issue 3, the one I'm working on now, not exaggerating, there are panels that have more than 20 characters in them, and characters with very elaborate costumes. So I'm dealing with detail on top of detail, which is kind of fun and crazy. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sign this like that, date it, put the prompt word, and then this one is going to be available as a prize very soon. Like I said, I got to figure out how to do it. So let's jump in on some other drawing stuff. I'm going to answer my dumb question, because there's no such thing as a dumb question. How do I approach drawing the body type of a gorilla compared to that of a human? Okay, that is a fantastic question, and I will have some visual aids to go along with it. So, what I do when I draw a gorilla is I try to think of a gorilla itself, and the weight, how a gorilla carries themselves, and how they walk on all on their knuckles and stuff, and then I'll try to bring some of that body type into the character himself. With gorilla, because he is a mutation of a gorilla, and they were trying to weaponize him in his early rendition. The idea behind him, and this is like when I talk to the colorist and the letterer, and I try to get everybody on board with a creative team, is every one of these characters. Let me see if this zooms. It does. Yay, we can zoom. All right, so this character here, his name is Gorilla. I would say he's kind of like the Hulk meets the Beast, in that the angrier he gets, he can grow longer teeth and more savage claws and get bigger. But the bigger he gets, the dumber he gets. Though, even at normal size like this here, he is very intelligent. This character here, who is my alien, his name is Rascal. He's kind of like Spider-Man meets Drac from Guardians of the Galaxy. He is otherworldly, so he doesn't quite get all the jokes. Sniper is you know, Punisher meets Captain America. He's very conflicting. He's both wants to do what's right and true, but sometimes what's right and true isn't necessarily right. This character here, Geisha, she is Tony Stark, basically. She is the female Tony Stark. She owns Emoto, which it makes all their weapons and all that. And this guy way back here, his name is Raiden. He's essentially Doctor Strange. uh, with kung fu skills. So if you take Iron Fist and Doctor Strange and make one guy, that's Raiden. Spot, he is wish fulfillment. When I was a kid, grew up on a chicken farm. We didn't have a lot of money, and it wasn't like a massive chicken farm. I think we had like 50 chickens. I don't even think we had a full acre, but we didn't have a lot of money. And when I'd see GI Joe commercials, or I'd see some. Do you guys remember Best? Remember Best catalogs or Sears catalogs? And thank you, Paulus. It's good to see you again, my friend. I used to imagine that I could reach into that television commercial or reach into that magazine and grab that toy, and that's essentially Spot's superpower, but he can do it with dreams and things like that. So back to the gorilla thing. So I don't know if you can see this. I've got a toy gorilla that I bought at Walmart recently, and what's really great about him is proportionally with my little Figma characters, he's really massive. So I imagine, like, I don't know, they wouldn't necessarily be that in this. I think like when Sniper stands up next to Gorilla, he comes up to his chest or his armpit, which is essentially where my wife shows up on me. We did this funny height thing here at my house once. My wife, if I put my arm straight out like Michael Jordan, she fits under my armpit. My stepson fits under hers. My daughter fits under my young son fits under hers. And it was just sort of like a Russian egg thing. So I totally digress. If you guys want to check out my sketchbook, I'll let you guys see that. So this here is my car sketchbook, I guess. Like, I drive, but like errands and things, my wife drives. So what I'll do is I'll pencil doodle and then come back to them some other time and try out different pen techniques. So here's some more of Sniper. Here's some ideas of inking with some feathering approach. Another Sniper. This here was some crazy lizard mer person. Let me see if I can zoom in a little on it for you. Yeah, some like mer person talking to this face guy. I don't know what I was thinking. Some more, just trying out different inking approaches. You've got Gorilla in there. Some more Sniper. Exploring some ideas for some of the stuff. Here's Raiden. I was thinking about having when he's in his transient state, some of his emotions reflected in the cape. Got a little bit of Skeletor snuck in there. What else? I think I shared this one before on Instagram. This one here, again, trying out some new pens. Here we go. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Does that look familiar at all to you? That was my first layout for the very first page of He-Man, where I was just kind of figuring some shit out. I redid them later, the layouts later in Photoshop. Here's some more He-Man. Because one of the things that I do, and it's something I highly recommend you guys do, is draw every day, draw on whatever you can. So I keep this book, I usually keep it in the car, but I had it today because I was trying to find this particular layout. This is Sniper, and I was playing with some circular graphic ideas where he's running, but the bullets are creating this almost vortex. So we use the perspective of the bullets to give you this sort of sense of movement. And obviously no one, when they shoot, creates this perfect circle. But that's something that I think is worth talking about. In fact, one of the things I think is, I'm going to let you guys see my face so you know that, let me see, A, B, they're popping up in the corner. So now I'll move this stuff over here and do that. Hopefully it won't be as bright. Let's try to adjust that. There we go, adjusted. So one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about, because I've been absent from comics for 17 years, and that's a long time. And in that time, I've storyboarded movies, commercials, TV shows, music videos. I've done a lot of storytelling with rectangular panels in different aspect ratios: 16:9, 4:3, 2:4, 2, 2:3:5. You know, but I'm constantly thinking about how the camera moves and things like that. And you have a set of tools when you're doing that kind of storytelling. You know there's camera motion. You have the ability to evoke certain storytelling cues using that camera movement and context. You also have sound effects. You have music. You know, the advent of time. Now comics has a whole different set of tools. We don't have motion, we don't have sound, we don't have music. We have sound effects and words, and we have context. But the reason I bring it up, and I bring up something like this, is you're not going to see something like this in a movie. Maybe something like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is, you know, the closest approximation I've ever seen to comics in a movie hybrid. But like even a movie dated as heck 20 years ago, The Matrix, at its time with its bullet time and seeing bullets freeze in space, this is about the closest that they'll get to this. But as far as it being graphic like that, that is something that's sort of exclusive to the 2D flat department. And being able to exploit those things and utilize them. Like some of my favorite stuff of all times, I was actually flipping through it today. There's a comic by Sam Keith. You guys remember this one? It's Blood Hungry by Sam Keith, and it used to be in Marvel Comics Presents. It's also a trade paperback. You can also get this True Believer version. But when you look at something like this, you can say wolves don't look like that. Arms aren't bigger than heads. Nobody can bend like that. There's no light on the ground underneath him causing that light. You can just pick it apart and be really literal about it. But this reads as visceral to me. There's a mood to it. It feels like moonlight. It evokes a feeling. That, my friends, is what I love about comic books, is the fact that there are things we can do to oh, here's some layouts from issue 2. There we go. There's things we can do to create all those same things that happen in movies, but on a flat piece of paper. And you know, there's different things we can do to do that. There's Will Eisner's book, the sequential art book. There is Scott McCloud's book, The Understanding Comics. There's How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. And then there's just going out and reading as many comics as you can and asking yourself questions. Why did they do this? Why does this work for me? You know, that sort of thing. I'm going to take this brief second to then have our non-sponsor sponsored beverage of Sweetwater Going Coastal IPA with pineapple. And now for a real sponsor thing. So one of the things that's super important to me is paper types and how they play with ink. And one of the things I do is I will go and I will buy 10 different types of ink, 10 different types of markers, different nibs, different types of paper, things like that, so I can isolate and find what it is that works. You know, I have my set of criteria. I don't like ink that bleeds. I like waterproof ink. I like paper that can take a beating, that sort of thing. So, for example, my favorite ink is Talon's India ink. It's waterproof. It dries quick, but not too quick. It doesn't gum up. And you can use it on tons of paper. I use it on sketch paper. Now, regarding paper, I'd gone through the gamut. You know, there's plenty of different sketchbooks and things that I would buy over time, and the manufacturer would end up changing the recipe on the paper. You know, so I'd be buying it. I'd buy a bunch. I'd go through it, go get a new one, and it doesn't work anymore. So that was a problem. Then I found this really awesome company called Airship Notebooks, and they sent me a notebook along with some of their pens, and I took it for a test spin, and I wrote the owner back, this guy named Mike. I wrote Mike and I said, man, I really love your product. I have an idea. What do you think about creating a sketchbook for me? Not a sketchbook with my art in it, but a sketchbook so I can put art in it. Good paper, quality craftsmanship, that sort of thing. He loved the idea, sent me a bunch of different types of paper that I just punished with watercolor ink, pencils, charcoal, watercolor, color pencils, everything that I could. We isolated a paper type that worked, and I created an image for the cover and curated it all along the way, all the materials. This is it here. It is called the Couch Doodles Airship Notebook, and it's available in 2 sizes. This one, I forget, this one's A5. See, the A5 is smaller than the A4, which is, you know, I think that's why I get them mixed up. This is the A4, and you can see they're quite different in size. These are available if you go to airshipnotebooks.com and check them out. You can get them there. And these will also be getting some of the Inktober sketches put in them and available as prizes, and some of them for sale because baby needs new shoes. So I have a question. Does anybody have any questions? That's my question. Let me see if I have any other sketchbook. No, I think that other sketchbook is upstairs, so can't jump into that. Wish I could. Save that for another day. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of drawing because we have some extra time, and I'm gonna turn my ugly face off. So we're gonna do this, tap that, do this, boom. We are just here. All right, going back to my dumb question in regard to the gorilla thing, because I like that question a lot. So when I think of a gorilla, I think of sort of their shape, right? So they're small here and they're big here, and they have that sort of thing going on. They've got large shoulders and then rest on their knuckles, and then their head and neck kind of goes into each other. So when I think when I think of a gorilla and their short legs and that sort of thing, that's essentially what I'm thinking about. And then the other thing I think about is scale. Like if a real human being was standing there, it's probably, if they were there, it'd be something like that, you know. But when I comic book eyes him, I'll bring him upright a little bit, so he'll still have that big barrel and the shorter legs, but also give him a little more human attributes, like less of the beer belly and a little more of a 4-pack, that sort of thing. And then, like I said, when Sniper stands next to him, it'll be more that situation. And then Geisha would be here. Raiden is kind of tall and skinny. Rascal, I don't think ever stands upright. That's one of the things that's kind of funny about that character. And then you got Spot and Bubble, and then all the other ancillary characters. Paul, question, will I spend more time on YouTube? Yes, in fact, I certainly will be spending more time on YouTube. I'm trying to use this Inktober to jumpstart. Like I was saying in the beginning of this, before I answer that long question, hold on. Iconic Blood, 6, and 5+1, because I'm not going to say it in succession like that, because Beetlejuice, you know. Ironically, iconically, ionically, Masters of the Universe is 6 issues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 issues long. So back to the YouTube question. I was helping a friend out, and I was giving them some critical advice regarding their life and how to deal with their dreams. And you know, and basically what it was is they would say something like, I don't know what I want to do. I know I want to be creative, but I don't know what I want to do. Here's the question. If you had no daily worries like bills or health, what would you do with your time? Okay? This is a big one, right? Bills. Got to pay rent. Got to pay that car note. Got to pay off credit cards. Got to do this. Got to do this. So we end up becoming compromises of our true selves in order to manage these things, so we can do with the tiny margins of time that we do have what we want to do. And when you get to the bottom of that, you will find the core of what makes you happy. Marcus, dude, I miss you, man. I truly miss you. I don't miss California, but I miss people, and you're one of them. Masters of the Universe comes out November 20th. November 20th, 2019. And by the time the first issue comes out, I'll be finishing issue 4. So, Lord willing, things will stay on track and on time and ahead of time. So back to this question. If you had no daily worries like bills or health, what would you do with your time? My answer is I would like to do one graphic novel a year, or at least one gigantic story that, 160 pages or 80 pages, but one big story a year. And the rest of my time, I would like to do a YouTube show. The reason is simple. it boils down to this. I've been in so many places in my life creatively, professionally, personally, that I've faced a lot of pitfalls. I've faced personal demons, and I don't mean like drugs and alcohol or anything like that. I just mean like procrastination or low self-esteem, low self-worth, or not being able to find inspiration, or whatever it may be. Kevlar blast shield. See, you get it. You get it. Now, if I can help inspire someone or give someone that kernel of information that will push them down the line to their next level up, then I am super happy. And that's why I came up with the concept of the I don't even have a name for it, but it's where I'm interviewing all these guys, right? I'll show you guys what the questions are. That way you can get super stoked on what you have to look forward to. How's that? Does that sound good? Here it is. Working offline, it says. Do you have a routine? What is it? What do you do when you don't know what to do? If you could trade lives with any person, living or dead, for one day, who would it be and why? If you can give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be? What are you most self-conscious about? What is the most childish, childlike thing that you still do? Would you rather live in the country, suburb, city? Why? If you could learn a new skill instantly, what would you want it to be? What element best represents you? If money wasn't a factor, how would you live your life? Boom, that's that one, right? Describe yourself with one word. What initially sparked your interest in wanting to do what you do? What are bad recommendations you hear in your professional area or expertise? How has a failure or apparent failure set you up for later success? Do you have a favorite failure? What is the best or most worthwhile investment you've ever made, whether it was time, money, energy, etc.? What book or books do you give as gifts? Who are your top 5 influences, life, and what would you like your legacy to be? So, those are the questions that I asked guys like Neil Adams and Mike Mignola and Kim Jong-gi and Rob Liefeld and Dennis Cowan and Brian Murray and Emily Kelly and Matt Jakowski and Steve Umbleby. I asked all of these amazing people those questions because those are questions that have a lot of nuggets of truth rooted in how they're answered. In fact, when I interviewed Mike Mignola, I also interviewed Mark Bagley and Jim Mahfood the same day. They were all great interviews, but what was really very interesting to me, and it was sort of an eye-opener, in fact, is how divergently different Mignola and Bagley's answers were. But they both draw comics, and they're both really good at what they do, and they're both legends, and they both create iconography that we all share and love. We have the shirts and have seen the movies, and they feed the culture, and we're there to consume it. So how is it that these guys were so different? So Kevlar, that's a good question. When are these interviews coming out? Well, I'll tell you what I'm trying to do is give them 2 phases, 2 passes, right? So for example, let me show you, let me see if I can pull it up, because they all live on my phone, all these interviews, and I have them backed up, so don't worry about that. But like, for example, here's Jung-gi, right? I'm gonna be on both. Oh, that clapped out. There we go.
And then I'm gonna talk to that one. Yes.
This is outtakes.
Hello, Couch Doodlers. Please join me in welcoming our first guest, my friend Jung-gi, Master Kim Jung-gi.
No, master.
Master. Thank you so much for joining, my friend. The design of my show is to help other creative
Anyhow,
people be empowered.
this one is in Korean. So it needs to be edited. It needs to be translated before I even put it out. But like, you're gonna see things like, for example, Stan Sakai.
Stan Sakai, and you're watching the Couch Doodle Show with Fragaboom.
See, so we've got things like that. I've got.
Hi, this is Arthur Adams. You're watching the Couch Doodle Show, and I will not say Fragaboom.
So we've got a lot of fun things like that. Like I said, here's Josh Keaton's interview. So again, these just need to be edited. So long story short, sorry for the long answer. There's going to be coming out in a couple of passes. So there's going to be the quick edit versions that I'm going to share with you guys live during Inktober. Then there's going to be the feature versions where I do a rollout where I tell you the history of the person, where you can find their work, their social media, things like that, and that'll be trickling out at some point this fall. But you're going to be seeing first looks during these Inktober live sessions. So it's a good reason to stay tuned every day of the month of October, I guess. So check those out. Let's see I like that format. I enjoy broad, open discussions, but I find it fascinating to hear different people's answers to the same question. Exactly, because what I think is that maybe somebody's favorite artist is Mike Mignola, and they love Hellboy, but when they read a Mignola interview, they're kind of at an impasse because they don't understand why he does what he does. But they may see Jim Mahfood, who doesn't draw like Mignola at all, but creatively may be in line with that person. And when they see that and hear that same question answered with something that they relate to, it will excite them creatively and make them want to move forward. What do you do when you have artistic block, when nothing you draw just doesn't come out how you pictured them in your mind? Thank you, Louis. Is it Vives or Vives? Junior. That is a wonderful question, and I'll tell you what's kind of it's a well-timed question, and I'll tell you why. Because everybody has bad drawing days. In fact, I had one yesterday. In fact, yesterday was a day that my wife went on a road trip and took the family, and it was nice and quiet, and I went, yippee, I don't have to deal with crying babies, and my kids are off this week, and it, all of this sort of outside distracting noise. And then I went to sit down to draw, and I can usually lay out a page in about an hour. I spent 5 hours working on the same page yesterday, and throughout all of them. Did not like any of them. I could see things in my mind, but things weren't coming out right. So your question of what do you do? I'll tell you what I did. I took a break. I went upstairs. I made myself some tea. I recognized that a bad drawing day doesn't define me as someone who doesn't know how to draw. That we as human beings are biochemical, and it could be something as easy and different as I ate something with too much caffeine in it or something that made my mind race. At the end of the day, is you stay with it or you go and sketch. So I'll show you what I did yesterday. On a day that I felt like I couldn't draw, my problem wasn't with drawing, it was with the capacity to see the whole page graphically. So I ended up just sketching things I knew I could do. You know, I wanted to make someone stand in a place. I wanted this person to feel heavy. Working out some arm anatomy, things like that. Things that, like I said, I knew that I could do. So sometimes to get yourself out of it, exactly what Kevlar Blast Shield said. You got to step away from the thing and revitalize yourself. I'm going to show you guys another really cool trick. So if you want to draw someone standing and really make them feel like they're standing on the ground they're standing on, the easiest way to do that is to draw a ground plane. So if I wanted someone standing above me, if I draw this sort of, imagine that's a piece of glass, and I put one foot there and another foot there, I now know that's how I would draw that person if they were standing above me looking down. And the same holds true. Let's say I wanted it to be a down shot. We could be looking up or down, but let's say I put that foot there and the other foot there. Well, the only thing that can happen now is that they're standing in that space. So it's a lot of times having something as simple as a reference of a square can help you out. I know that Jung-gi talks about floating bounding boxes. They're invisible in his mind, but that's what he does. Man, this is a quick hour, guys. Holy smokes, we did 1 hour and 8 minutes. I appreciate you guys being here. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Today's prompt word was the word ring. We get gorilla blowing smoke rings. Ta-da, ring. Stay tuned. What I'll try to do is post at least an hour or so before on social media. On Twitter, you can find me as Couch Doodles. On Instagram, you can find me as Couch Doodles. On YouTube, where you are right now, you found me, Couch Doodles. Thanks again, guys. Please feel free to share this. I'm hoping that my energy level and my ability to speak will be a little bit better. I'll take you guys for a spin on the spinner rack. Let's do that. You guys want to have fun with my spinner rack? Give you guys a first day treat on the spinner rack. All right. So my spinner rack, I wanted to be filled with what Marie Kondo says is sparks joy. So one comic that's missing from here is The Death of Gwen Stacy. It's slabbed, which is stupid, and I'm sorry because I'm not a slab book kind of guy. But it was the very first back issue I ever bought. But the very first back issue that was ever bought for me was this one. And this isn't the exact copy. That's in a box somewhere, and I still haven't unpacked, even though we've been here for a year. But this sparks joy. Cloak and Dagger. What If Wolverine. This came out about a week before I met Rob Liefeld for the first time. Here's a bunch of others. I know I'm bending my comics. How bad am I, right? So this is like my Liefeld area. This is my McFarlane area. Yes, this is a classic. This, you guys, I'm going to make you cry. Because, yes, this is classic, and it's got no bagging board, and it just exists. And I'll shove it in there the way I want to, because these are my comics, and I do what I want with them. Got some Michael Golden, some more Michael Golden, Spartan X, Michael Golden reprints, some Barry Smith. Here's some newer stuff that I'm just getting into. This is my Wildstorm section. Up here, we got Whilce Portacio, classic Punisher stuff. His X-Men run, there's some X-Factor in there, some Jim Lee Punishers. Goes down into some X-Men. Eric Larson Spider-Man, some Joe Mad. Major X, which I had the pleasure of working on. One of the greatest team-up books of all time. Some more stuff, some JR Jr., Bloodshot. Then we got a little bit of these classic bad boys here. My very, very first printed work ever, which was a pinup in Brigade. There we go. First appearance of Black Flag is in Extreme Zero. So if you guys don't have this, you need to get this. This is the very, 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 very first appearance of Sniper and the Black Flag team. Some of you guys might get mad at me because I know the political tendencies swirling around Ethan Van Sciver and Cyberfrog. I just want good comics, and I don't pay attention to that stuff. The stuff that I have read, I don't, obviously I don't like any sort of bigotry or homophobia or any sort of racism. This is in no way saying I support it. So this just says I support well-made comics. So that's a full spin. I hope you guys had a good time. I had a good time. Hope to see you tomorrow. Oh yeah, I have you guys, your captive audience, all 19 of you. Transformers, and yes, I have these in here, and I've opened them and I have played with them. There's Cloak and Dagger, The Dark Knight, Spider-Man. You're gonna see a lot of this guy in the future. See that? That's my reference for Space He-Man. That was my reference for Gwildor. And this is where I bid you guys adieu. Thank you again for joining. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled. Turn on the notification bell so you know when it's happening. Again, I'll put it on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'll try to at least give an hour advance when we're starting this thing up, and hopefully it'll run smoother than today. Thanks again, guys.